the word go forth.
Fool me once.
Are you fired up?
I'm not a crook.
Are you ready to go?
Shame on you.
It's Abe Lincoln's Top Hat, hosted by Ben Kissel.
Fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Hey everyone, welcome to a very special episode of Abe Lincoln's Top Hat. I had a great honor to host a debate between Katherine Timpf and Kollege Angyal. It's all about feminism, and the only thing that I think we all agreed on was I was definitely the dumbest person on stage. All right, let's go listen to the debate now.
All right, everyone. Let me introduce the two people who are going to be discussing it. The first one, she's been on Fox News Red Eye, and she's a writer for the National Review. Put your hands together for Katherine Timpf, everyone. Katherine Timpf. Thank you. All right. The next guest is a senior editor for Feminist. She has a PhD, and she's an opinion columnist for Reuters. Put your hands together for Kollege Angyal, everybody. Awesome. This is great. Thanks, guys, so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, no problem. Let's see. Where to start? Let's just talk and let's just get a general question out there. How have your personal experiences? And we didn't decide who was going to go first backstage, so I'm going to say, Chloe, you want to go first?
I thought we were going to catfight for it.
Oh, catfight. Yes, an all-clothed catfight. Hot stuff. All right. How have your personal experiences, Chloe, shaped your views on feminism?
Oh boy.
It's light.
Yeah, it's a teeny question.
Yeah. You have 14 seconds to answer it.
Okay. I was raised by two feminists, which definitely helps. I grew up in. Can you hear me? Yeah. You can hear me? Cool. I grew up in Sydney, Australia, which is why I sound like this. And I was raised by two feminists. My mum was a big second waver, and my dad was the man who married her.
What's a second waver?
You are the dumbest person on this.
I know.
She was very active in the second wave feminist movement in the 70s. She was one of the first women to graduate from an Ivy League school after they started letting women in. She was part of that second wave of big, prestigious institutions opening up to women. Roe v. Wade happened when she was in her early 20s, when she was sort of being politically formed. I grew up in Sydney, Australia, and did not realize that there was a word for feminism till I was 15. Had a body image crisis and read Naomi Wolf's The Beauty Myth, which is a great book, and you can ignore everything else that she's done since. I'm going to get in trouble for that. Came to my mum and said, "Mum, have you heard about this thing called feminism?" And bless my mum for having a really great poker face. She just said, "Really? Tell me more about that. I've never heard about that." So I became a feminist at 15. It was body image issues that got me there, and that in some ways keep me there today. And then I went and got a degree in sociology. But most of what I've learned about feminism, I've learned from my colleagues at Feministing, which is a big feminist blog, one of the original feminist blogs. We were founded in 2004, and most of what I've learned about activism and about ideology, I've learned from my colleagues there, and from the people that I've had a chance to interact with through the journalism that I've been doing there for the last 5 years. And I
That's
guess,
great.
yeah, what's my understanding of feminism? It's the fight against sexism. It's pretty simple. It's Bell Hooks' definition. It's pretty simple. The fight against sexism.
Perfect. Chloe, everybody. That was great. Yeah, I can imagine there's not a lot of feminists in Sydney, Australia. When you think of Australia, you think of like big burly men playing rugby and things like that.
If you're lucky.
Hot stuff. How about you, Kat?
Well, I mean, I don't know how to answer the first question, really. Like, everything, I guess, influences my views on everything, right? Like, all of our whole lives influence our views on everything. Mm-hmm. So, just living my life, being a female, interacting with other females. I've had a lot of, feminists hate me. I guess if we agree on...
Why do you say that?
A lot, because I've had feminists tell me they hate me.
It's true. It came up at the last meeting.
I've been run out of a feminist conference without anyone asking me what I actually think about anything. And if we're talking about not wanting sexism, obviously I am a feminist. I mean, I don't hate myself, right? But a lot of the problem that I see, with modern feminism, I think for me, it's more not being bothered by a lot of things that are very, very frequently dissected by feminists.
What are some of those things?
Such as the iPhone 6 being sexist because it's too big. Like, it's
Chloe,
too
do you
big
think
for
that's
my
true?
hands, but I just will solve it by not buying an iPhone 6.
Yeah,
for
everything's
example.
too small for me, so no, my
Yeah.
story is never getting out there.
So I just feel like
You're so
getting mad about
oppressed.
little things like that, or looking for things to complain about, kind of makes women seem weaker overall. And every feminist in the room probably hates me now, so that's okay.
Chloe, as representing all feminists, do you currently hate Kat Timpf?
God, no. I mean, one of the things I love about modern feminists is that no one person represents all feminists, thank God. I think one of the big flaws with second wave feminism was that a couple of really visible figureheads did emerge, and they in no way represented the diversity and vibrancy of the movement as it was.
Who are these figures?
You know there are 101 websites you can read, right?
No. I only look at Pornhub. That's where I get all my information about women. I know very little.
I'm just trying to picture the Pornhub tab open right next to the Feministing tab. It makes me
Yeah.
really happy.
Oh yeah, Feministing was a totally different website when I went to it. I was
sorry.
my boner just got huge. Actually, I thought
Actually,
it was. I love a smart woman.
You would be surprised. You'd be surprised at the number of people who find their way to feministing by Googling fisting. It's really,
yeah.
it's millions of accidental hits that we get.
It's perfect. So there's room for conservatives in the feminism movement.
Well, so the thing is, there isn't I wouldn't say that there's a feminist clubhouse. There are no rules. There are no people that kick you out. I would say there are a few core beliefs that a lot of us find it very difficult to compromise on, and we find it very difficult to say that you are a feminist if you don't subscribe to a couple of these ideas. To get back to your earlier question about figureheads, Gloria Steinem and Betty Friedan, the
Right.
two big figureheads of second wave feminism, two white, straight ladies who could in no way represent the movement. And one of the great things about the internet is that it has brought so many more feminist voices to the forefront, so that we don't just have to hear from two people anymore, although I think you should notice the
Right.
complete lack of diversity that's going on at the moment.
I mean, I feel like, I don't know, like Gloria Steinem bugs the hell out of me. And
Well, she also
does that mean I can't be a feminist if I think she's
Betty Friedan. She hated Gloria Steinem, and I think that she's technically a feminist. So
Yeah, but
you're
the
allowed.
feminist has a certain connotation, of course. I mean, are you considered to be a feminist? People see me on Fox News and they're like, oh, people, how can you, wear that dress and you sit in the yeah, I mean, it's disgusting when I have random dudes, tweet things at me, but it's not that big of a deal, and I'm also doing it because I want to. So isn't that feminist?
Do you think that you would be able to do Fox News, Rena, if you refused to sit in the leg chair?
I've
I'm
sit-
only wearing sweats this week,
I've
guys.
sat in the middle chair one time.
Right.
A lot of people were very mad about it, according to my Twitter research. But I mean, I liked it because I could, interact with the guys, and I liked it better than sitting in the leg chair. But I also like the fact that because I have nice legs, that helps me get on TV. Does that make me a misogynist? Or am I, as a female, allowed to want to do that and follow my
Yeah.
dreams of being on television?
So you have nice legs, and these things are exposed. Is that innately? Is that sexist? Is that sexist of Fox News? Do you think, Chloe, to put her in the leg chair? Is that because she only got in there because of her physical beauty as opposed to her brain?
Oh, I'm sure she didn't. She's clearly really smart. I don't think she
Right.
only got in there because of her physical beauty. I don't think any of us get on television purely because of that.
Well, that's not true.
When it comes when it comes to news and current affairs, obviously. No, I mean, I think we all make the best decisions we can about how to exist within a power structure that is really, really flawed. I go on TV, I put on makeup, I feel like I'm in drag, like I'm wearing this ridiculous costume. I spend 35 minutes in the hair and makeup chair and men who will be sitting right next to me on television spend 3, I know, because I've timed it.
Right.
And when they're done with their perfunctory brush over and some, Jack Kennedy style, to be topical, quick bit of powder, they go into the green room and they glad hand and they look over their notes and they read the news and they figure out what they're going to say and they network. Meanwhile, I'm still sitting in the makeup chair, holding totally still so that they can apply my eyeliner. I mean, I think
I love the makeup chair.
I mean, just all...
Can I love the makeup chair and still be a feminist?
All of which is to say, I think we all make the best decisions we can within a flawed system. There is a barrier for entry for getting access to that big platform of television, and we all make compromises. I mean, if you don't want to make compromises with a fucked up power system, you have to go live on a hill in a cave somewhere. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's helpful to ask, you know, does X make me a bad feminist? Does X disqualify me from feminism? As far as I'm concerned, the only thing that disqualifies you from being a feminist is thinking that sexism is good or not believing in reproductive rights. Apart from that, welcome to the clubhouse. It's a big tent.
Right.
Yeah,
and what you were saying, I did an Al Jazeera panel recently, and I agree. The woman was getting all the makeup, and I got none of it, and I was devastated.
Which is a
and I
shame
said,
because-
and I went in and I said, "Can I have a tummy tuck?" You know, I really thought the whole situation was I thought they were going to make me much more attractive.
It's really
but-
unfair because you desperately need some lip liner right now.
I know.
I mean, it's just crying out for false eyelashes right now.
It's awful. So reproductive rights. So if you're pro-life, you're out of the feminist movement.
I think it's very difficult to claim that you are against sexism while also saying that the government or anyone other than the woman herself should have a say, should force a woman to be able to force a woman to give birth or to have an abortion against her will.
Right.
I mean, I think it's
Okay,
very
so-
difficult to square those things.
I'm pro-choice, but I feel like it's kind of creepy when dudes are like pro-life. You know, I think we can all agree on that. But because they'll never have to have babies. But I feel like if a female is pro-life, does that mean that she can't be a feminist? Because that might be her personal views, it might be her religious views. I mean, some people,
Well, there's
that's
some
just
people
their
that have a
belief.
very personal experience with
Well,
abortion and.
Well, I think there's a big difference between what you would want for yourself and what you would advocate as policy. I mean, there's a huge difference between saying that's not something I could do in my own life and saying therefore that's not something anyone else gets to do with their lives. I mean, there's a gap there, and I know plenty of women who are vehemently pro-choice, who are clinic escorts. It's sort of a free speech thing, right? I don't agree with what you have to say, but I'll fight to the death for your right to say it. There's a huge difference between saying I could never do that for myself and saying I still support the right of other people
Well,
to do
saying
it.
you don't want other people to do it is also free speech. I mean, everything's free speech. I think you should be able to say absolutely whatever you want.
Well, you should absolutely be able to say anything you want, but there's a difference between saying it and enacting it as policy.
I was a good listener in the womb, and that's true. And
What changed?
Nothing. I'm still a great listener. Not a good talker, but I'll never forget when I was being bored. I said, "Leave me in. You know, leave me in here. Kill me in here. Kill me in here. Don't bring me out there." But sure enough, she
Where is
birthed
this
me.
joke going?
What's that?
Where is this joke going?
Where's this going?
Yeah.
Hell if I know.
Crushing it.
Yeah, passionate. No, the womb is a great place to be.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
Right. Consent laws. There's some going on in California, Catherine. You're working on something with the Yes Means Yes campaign.
Yeah, I think yes means yes. Consent laws are kind of misogynist, actually, because I've done this thing before where a guy's like want to have sex with me, and I've been like no, and then we didn't have sex. And I feel like saying that if you don't say yes, you can actually go so far as just assume that it's assault, is saying that women are that incapable of ever saying no, which seems kind of weird to me. I mean, I also would like to not have to, if I was on that campus, I would probably not just have sex, because if I was having sex with somebody and they were constantly like, is this okay? Is this okay? That'd be disgusting, and I wouldn't want to have sex with them anymore.
Chloe, what do you think about
Thank
that?
Yeah, I mean, if there's one thing I know, it's that hearing the word yes moaned really passionately is a huge turnoff.
I think it's up to me to decide personally what I
Of course
think is
it
a turn
That's
on
the
or
point
a
of
turn
yes
off.
means yes laws. It's up to you to decide.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's not. It's up to the school to decide how people should have sex with you. Which is very weird. I mean, it's very weird to say, like, the Governor Jerry Brown, like, well, you know, if you don't tell these kids to have sex the way that we want them to have sex, then you don't get our money and your school's gonna fail. That is absurd. California is a shit show. You can think of a lot more important things to focus on than whether a girl said yes enough during sex. You know, if you say no, I'm not like pro-rape, right? I'm not like saying if you say no, or if someone's is too incapacitated to say yes, but that's kind of assuming that females in general are always too incapacitated to say no.
Can you say more about that?
Well, yeah. I mean, I can just repeat. Like, I don't know what else to say about it.
Well, there was Lena Dunham just recently wrote her book, and she has the situation where she was like, she was drinking a little bit, she did some coke and some Xanax, and then they had sex. She was having sex with this guy, realized he wasn't wearing a condom, and he she kicked him out. And as she was telling the story, everyone's like, oh my God, you were like, that was like rape. You were raped. But it really is sort of a gray area now. What do you think, Chloe? Is it an invasion of privacy in sort of this bizarre kind of liberal way into the bedroom if the state is telling people what social agreement they have to enter before they have sex with each other?
I want to paraphrase what Ezra Klein said at Vox earlier this week, which is that a better term for the yes means yes law would be the you better be fucking sure law. You better be fucking sure that she is into this or that he is into this. I think.
I have a terrible body.
That's
I'm
not what
never
the law
sure if they're
says,
into it.
though.
I
That's
think-
the thing.
Well,
though.
actually, it is what the law says. It says that you need to consistently verify and make sure that your sexual partner or partners, plural, the law has the word all, not both, which I think is really great.
Oh man, that's gonna.
So we're really gonna have like a court of law where one person's like, it was a good moan, and one person was like, it was a bad moan. Like, how can we? I mean, I feel like I don't buy that rapists don't know that they're raping somebody, and that's why rapes are happening.
I don't buy that
I believe
either.
that it's because there's bad dudes, and I don't think that like horrible dudes. I don't think that Governor Jerry Brown being like, you got to make sure she's into it. Oh shit, I better stop raping girls. I don't think. I don't think that's the solution here. I think it's insulting to everyone's intelligence to think that it's because the government hasn't taught us whether people want to have sex with us or not, and that's why rapes are happening.
I mean, first of all, what the numbers show about repeat rapists is that you're absolutely right. They do know what they're doing. But what the numbers show about one-time rapists, about date rapists, people who commit what you might call gray area rapes, which, if you've been getting if you've been actively getting a woman drunk at a party, it's not a whole lot of accident involved. But what we know about those people is that they tend to swim in really toxic, permissive waters where the kinds of borderline behaviors are accepted, and it's really easy to get away with committing rape. So you're absolutely right. Repeat rapists, people who target women, know exactly what they're doing. But that's a very small proportion of rapists. The rest, I've said the word rapists a lot at this comedy show.
I've seen
That's
a
actually
yeah.
It's just like a regular stand-up show.
Yeah. Mary, if we could get a ticker on the screen for the word
Rape
for the United
jokes are
States
okay,
rapist
yeah.
or
Yeah,
rape.
do I get a gold coin every time I say it?
Yeah. Do you think that takes away the responsibility from the person who? I mean, because the idea of getting somebody drunk implies that they weren't drinking it themselves. I mean, if you funnel it down their throat and they're like, please don't, that would be getting them drunk. But does it sort of make them seem as if they had no idea what they were doing? They're just a victim.
No, I think I come at this from a structural viewpoint. I'm a social scientist by training. I come from a structural viewpoint, and I think it's really ill-advised and short-sighted and fundamentally misunderstands how sexual violence works. This is real fun, you guys. This is just like
I love it.
Upbeat Monday night. I think it fundamentally misunderstands how sexual violence works to say that two people at a frat party, one of them on home turf, one of them already slightly incapacitated, one of them with the full support of the culture behind him, of his frat brothers behind him. And by the way, I don't want to indict frats. This happens in marching bands. It happens in the chess team.
Whoa.
I've heard about that chess team rape.
I think it
That
is.
is some of the dorkiest rape I've ever seen.
You joke, but a marching band in Ohio is being investigated right now. I think
Trombones were not meant for that.
I think it fundamentally, and in some cases willfully, misunderstands how those power structures work to imagine that those two people walk into that party on a completely even footing, because they don't.
No, you can't legislate power structures or any other abstract
That's
stuff.
what
for
our
that
government
matter.
is,
And
legislating power
also, the
structures.
problem with this is it actually gives schools an incentive to get dudes in trouble for sexual assault, because the Department of Education gets to keep all the fines if they say that a school didn't try hard enough. And also, why are schools conducting rape investigations? I mean, I'm pretty sure that's
Actually,
for the
what
cops.
the
I'm
law
pretty sure the
does-
cops are supposed to be doing that. I don't think, if there's someone murdered on campus, they're going to bring the school and say, there's a preponderance of the evidence that you murdered this person. You're a
Actually, what the law does is put in the hands of the school the responsibility of making sure that 1 in 5 women on their campuses isn't being raped.
That is a false statistic. That was based on 2 colleges. I'm pretty sure the experience of every woman in the United States, it's not fair to just base it on 2 colleges.
It's interesting. I hear that argument a lot. I hear the 1 in 5 stat a lot, and again, as someone with social science training, I think I've looked at it. I think that's a pretty rigorously collected stat.
I don't have social science training, but I read the study and it says it was from 2 colleges. So,
But
all right.
the thing is, I hear that argument so much, and I've yet to see an alternative methodology for collecting an accurate statistic
More
proposed yet.
colleges.
Okay, so you know what? I would love to see that study.
Yeah, it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
But you can't just, like I asked
people-
10 people and nobody asked more people, so I'm going to say 10 and 10 people were raped, and I'm going to base legislation off of it. You just can't do that.
That wasn't the sample size. I think we all know
right,
that 10
but
was not the sample size.
I was not asserting that it was. I was using hyperbole for as a mechanism.
Right. So, do you feel as if college campuses are more dangerous now for women than they ever have been? Because, I mean, there's more women going to college than ever before. They tend to graduate at a higher rate. Really, there's a lot of good things happening, but do you feel like is it just being brought to light, or is this like a new phenomenon? Guys are just starting to sexually assault women at a rapid rate because, I don't know, 2008 happened. Whatever. reason.
20,000.
I don't know. 2008 seems like a horny year. I don't know.
I'm thinking about 2008 now.
Yeah, it is a horny year. Yeah.
Obama.
Chloe just went away. She's out of here.
I'm back. No, I don't think it's a new phenomenon. I think it's been happening for a long time. I just think that there has been a movement afoot on campuses for a long time, and there's been enough negative press. There's been enough sort of powerful feminist movement around it that people are finally paying attention, and legislation is finally being changed. And I don't think the yes means yes law is perfect, but I do think it is the law that we need right now. Anything has to be better than the status quo. Even if you don't accept that it's 1 in 5, it is way too high. Anything has to be better than the status quo.
It's not because of a changing culture. It's because Obama said, if you don't change this, we're going to take your money away.
Yeah.
I feel like that probably has something to do
The Department of
with it.
Education said, if you don't abide by Title IX, which is the law of this country, we're going to take your funding away.
Right, and that law's already been in place. I don't know how.
Oh, it's been in place. It's just not enforced.
Right, I just don't know how this law is going to change anything except give schools a financial incentive to side, against people when they're getting accused of sexual assault, because they didn't say, enough.
Well, what we know about report rates is that false reports for sexual violence are very, very low. They're about between 0.02 and 0.05%, which is the same for pretty much every other crime that happens in America. So I keep hearing about this epidemic of false rape accusations.
I never said that, yeah.
Oh, no, not from you, but most of the counter-arguments that I hear against the yes means yes law raise concerns about this rash of false rape accusations. And those, false rape accusations do happen, but they are very, very rare. And they're much rarer than the real assaults that are happening on real campuses tonight and every night this week.
Right. Well, let's move on. Let's talk about...
Wait, we're not going to talk about rape anymore? This is so much fun.
Rape.
Oh, we'll stick with rape. But now we're on butt rape. This is one of my personal favorite subjects. Chloe, tell me, how do I get butt raped? I would love it. I just couldn't get enough of it.
I don't know, you could ask 1 in 5 college students.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just, check the internet, guys.
All right, let's talk about women in the workforce. There's the wage gap. Sarah Silverman just did an amazing video on it. It's very, very funny. 78 cents to the hour. Katherine, you have a personal experience here because you used to work. You work in a lot of conservative places still as a conservative woman in these conservative environments. We've spoken before, in full disclosure, and there's been some fairly sexist things that have occurred to you.
I am a libertarian. Do not call me conservative. But also, so I've actually definitely had personal experiences with not my current job, but I've had past jobs where I've made less money than my coworkers who are male, and I'm suspicious that some of it might have been because this place did not take me as seriously because I'm a female. But, however, I, as an individual, think that the government can't come in and tell you how much you're supposed to pay your workers. And I did this thing where I talked to my boss about how much I was getting paid, and I stood up for myself, and I feel like we should be encouraging people to do that rather than getting the government involved. Yeah, people say this thing also, about how some women they want to go have babies, and so they make less money and all these other kinds of things. I'm not saying that's always the case. I think it's a cop-out to say that that's always the case, and I think it's a cop-out to say that that's never the case. Those things are not mutually exclusive. I think that every situation is different, and we're saying, you have to pay everyone this much. You actually take freedom away from everybody, including women, to make those kind of arrangements. So I don't think Obama knows what's going on in my office or any of your offices, as, awesome and amazing and perfect as he is, So.
Chloe, what do you think?
Well, I think the phrase that Catherine's used a couple of times now, I did this thing. I did this thing where I wasn't capacitated and I was too incapacitated to consent. I did this thing.
I never said I did that thing, but okay.
You said I did this thing where you said I did this thing where I didn't want to have sex, and so we didn't have sex. Which is great.
Yeah, it's great.
And I did this thing where I stood up for myself and I went to my boss and I asked for a raise. And I think it's so great that you felt like you had the security in your job or the security in that sexual relationship to do that.
What do you mean? You always have the security. What would be, rape is where you definitely don't have the security to say no, or they're gonna rape. That's rape. So, I don't know, what do you mean by not having the security to say no?
What I mean is that not all of us have the job security or
to say no to sex?
To ask for a raise. Not all of us have the steady footing in our jobs, in our workplaces, or the right power dynamics in a sexual relationship to say no to sex when we want to.
So I don't understand that at all. Then, what do you mean the right power dynamics to say no? Because, then if you can't say no, then that's
we weren't
rape.
going to be talking about rape. We're back on it.
Rape.
So, I hope all of your concerns are completely subsided.
I just don't understand the power dynamics to say no. Like you can always say no, or else then that's rape. Like, I don't understand. Like, I mean, it can be a little, I don't know. Why would you not say no if you don't want to have sex? Or then it wouldn't be rape. Or like, if you're like a sex slave, then that's also illegal, and we already have laws against.
So I want to keep on the asking.
Male prostitutes make 78 cents to the dollar.
Yeah,
wage compared to female prostitutes.
It's one of 3 industries in which women are paid more than men. It's sex work, modeling, and egg and sperm donation. You guys are really oppressed. That must suck for you.
Sperm versus eggs. How the sperm's losing.
To be fair, it is a highly renewable resource.
Yeah.
Anyway,
to
the question of asking for a raise or asking for promotion, this is my main objection to the lean-in school of solving sexism, which is that we are never going to self-help our way out of sexism. We're never going to individual solution our way. I think it's so wonderful that you were able to go to your boss and ask for a raise or raise the issue of pay disparity with your boss. Not everyone has that kind of job security. Not everyone gets to walk around in the bodies that we walk around. Not everyone has the same kind of power in the world that we have. And I think in order to level the playing field in the way that we really want to, we need a collective response to a cultural problem, not an individual one-by-one solution.
Okay. But how is the government going to enforce that? You know what I mean? How is the government going to know that you actually deserve this much money, or you actually deserve that much money? It'd be great if the world were fair, but you just can't pass laws being like, from now on, this has to be fair. And this,
but it's a hell of a start.
Awesome. That would be awesome.
It's a hell of a way to start.
But how? How are you gonna enforce that? Because even the White House pays men more than women.
Yeah, which I think is
what's the solution here? They must. You think that there's absolutely no part of this for why there's a reason for it in some sense, because it is true that more women work more part-time hours and those kinds of things. I don't think it's the case every time, but I think it's a little too gray for us to go subjecting businesses to blanket regulations from somebody who is sometimes a bajillion, not a bajillion, that's a hyperbole, miles away, and doesn't know exactly what's going on in your own personal office with your own personal boss.
Well, I think that would have been a valid argument 3-4 decades ago, but businesses have had plenty of time to level the playing fields by themselves.
But how do you enforce it is still my question. How do you know exactly what's going on in the office? What is the law? You have to pay a woman a certain, I don't understand what the specific law is, or what is the solution?
Well, I think wage transparency is a really good step towards that. So you know exactly what everyone in the office is being paid, so there's no way for businesses to get away with paying men and women differently for doing exactly the same work.
You don't think that's a bit of an invasion of privacy, or?
No.
Okay, well.
Thank God. As you can see, I'll talk about anything in public on the record. I'm.
Yeah. I get paid in Doritos, so it doesn't matter to me. Whatever. I get paid.
Wait, Cool Ranch or plain?
I can't
No,
wait
this
to
is
get that Cool
important.
Ranch range, that raise. Yeah, I'm still at nacho cheese here.
You respect yourself.
But if
You
I keep on
respect
working
yourself.
overtime, I think I'll get the Cooler Ranch raise this year. Either way, my kids are real obese, but it's fine. You know, that's okay though. Do you think, Chloe, would you go into the office? I would assume feministing probably is everybody's wages sort of discussed there. I'd assume you guys, or is there a difference in pay? Because sometimes, I mean, you know, it's not necessarily a gender thing, perhaps.
Feministing is almost entirely unpaid. We run on a shoestring budget. It turns out freelance feminist blogging, not the most lucrative biz in the world.
Oh my
I know
goodness.
you're all stunned. Which I think is in itself part of the problem, is that this kind of social justice work we're expected to do it for free, because if you really, really care about it, then you'll do it for nothing. And the result is that you have people doing social justice work, doing movement work, who can afford to, who have some other source of income, who have time enough to work unpaid part-time. And the result is that you get a really skewed class thing going on, where the people who can't afford to work unpaid, or do work for almost nothing, aren't represented in social justice.
It seems like there's an irony there, though.
Yeah, that's-
if your boss isn't paying you at all. But Feminist is a fairly good website, right?
Yeah, and yet we work for nothing. It's a labor of love.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I've worked. I got started in journalism doing unpaid internships, and then I just worked like several restaurant jobs, and made my way through. And it's hard sometimes, not just for being a woman or for coming from a family that doesn't have that much money. There's a lot of things that are fair and that are not fair, and you work hard, and everything's not going to be fair, and there is just no way for, as wonderful as the government is, to be able to swoop in and know how to solve everybody's individual personal problems. It's just not possible.
But
Sorry.
everyone agrees, but just different methodology. You believe the government should help out, and you believe the person should just take care of it for themselves. But
I believe it's
everyone,
impossible for the government to solve the problem.
Right, they're not
because
smart enough.
They're not. Well,
they can't even
true.
stop people from going into the front door.
Right.
Yeah. Which is
Yeah.
a pretty easy thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just you gotta lock it. I always
Lock
say
the door.
lock it. Every time I go into my Williamsburg apartment, I always lock it.
You should
But-
pass that on to the Secret Service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
let 'em
Secret
know.
Service.
I'll let them know. But everyone agrees on this stage, and I think everyone in this room, yeah, $1 for $1, right?
Right. I'm not saying pay me
Dollar.
that. Yeah.
Right. Is there anything that's improved in the American family, do you think, with women in the workforce? Because everyone's always like, oh, women have, women who work, like this is a conservative argument, not a libertarian one. But women in the workforce ruin the traditional American family. Do you think the American family is strengthened at all with women in the workforce? Is there any benefits of it?
Yeah.
Is that a real question?
Yeah.
My dad was the one who stayed home with me, not my mom, and I'm okay. I mean, you guys might not all agree with it, but I think I'm just great, so.
Yeah.
I mean, we agree. You're great. I mean, first of all, I think the narrative that women just came into the workforce out of nowhere in the 60s and 70s ignores a whole lot of history, that lots of women had to work for decades and decades before that. I mean, what happened in the 60s and 70s was that well-to-do upper-class women came into the workforce for the first time. And they were desperately campaigning for the right to work when there are plenty of other women who've been working their asses off who happily would have stayed home and had a rest. So I think it's not, I mean, women came into the workforce in unprecedented numbers during World War II and then in the 60s and 70s. I mean, that's true. There was a mass movement. But I think to say that women entered the workforce for the first time in the last 50 years is not quite accurate and ignores, a whole lot of our history. The first major feminist movement in this country was tied to women's right to earn money. The Christian temperance movement, the movement to ban alcohol, which was a terrible idea, is inextricably linked to women's right to vote. All right, women said, we can't go out and earn our own money. Our husbands are earning all the money and then spending it all on alcohol and then coming home and beating us and beating our children and leaving us destitute. So we need to be able to earn our own money.
That just brings me back. Yeah.
How old are you?
What's that?
How old are you?
I'm 33.
And so women's suffrage comes about as a result of the fact that women have no power because they can't be in the workforce. Well, the vast majority of them can't be in the workforce, which is why women got the right to vote so quickly after Prohibition happened. Prohibition, terrible. Women's suffrage, great. I just want to be really clear on that while I talk about feminism on a stage drinking beer.
Yeah, that is a through line through forever.
Legal beer.
We got vodsodes and beers.
I mean, I think the American family has been in the process of transforming for centuries. It's sped up and become really visible and really dramatic in the last 2 decades, I would say. But
what do you think is the reason for that?
Women in the workforce, women earning their own money, women no longer needing
I think it's Jezebel.com.
Yeah.
It's all them. They're making a huge
I think it's women are no longer financially dependent on marriage and therefore on men to survive in the world.
Thank God.
Yeah, right? No,
I
I'm
have
serious.
no money.
Seriously, you joke about that, but the fact that women can make their own money now actually, I think, levels the playing field between men and women in really dramatic ways so that men no longer have to worry that women are with them just for the money.
Some are.
Yeah.
I don't deny that. I don't deny that
And
for
I
a
think
second.
that's also feminist, if you want to do that.
Say more.
Who cares, man? If you want to go and marry a rich dude and have babies, and that's what you want to do, then is that not feminist?
What do you think?
Yeah, I think that. I mean, what does feminist even mean? I just think all individuals should be doing what they want to do, and there should be no judges. And
no judges.
Really? I'm getting a
what I
lot of
think.
judges from that side of the stage.
Really? I'm not judging you personally at all. I'm
Just politically.
No, I mean, not even that. I'm just, I'm totally thinking about myself and my own opinions, to be honest.
That's so weird coming
Yeah,
from a libertarian.
so that's what this is about, a libertarian, yeah. Because I think we agree. Well, I mean, I don't know what you mean by that. That seemed like a personal attack. A libertarian, I think, wants the exact same thing as other people. We just think, we have different ideas about the method on which how to get there, which says nothing about your worth or value as a person or the size of your heart.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to like pop culture and things like that. That's true. Everyone here has a heart, I would hope, unless...
Big ones. Not that size matters, but...
Well, I mean, that actually killed Andre the Giant in a large heart. So I hope we all have normal-sized hearts for the bodies that we currently reside in.
You rest in peace.
What do you think about the Beyonce and sex and pop culture and things like that? Obviously, it's like MTV. It's technically like a liberal station, but you watch it and it's insane. I used to write for MTV and I've done a lot of shows, and the conversations that they have. I mean, basically, they're 1 week. Next year, they're just gonna be showing buttholes. That's gonna be a whole video. Is just Nicki Minaj's butthole, close, zoom in. But this is theoretically.
May I please have another beer?
You want another beer?
Yes, please.
Can I have another boast, though?
No, it's just I have
The
a drink.
butthole put you over the edge?
No, I'm playing a drinking game. Every time I hear the phrase Nicki Minaj's butthole, I drink.
Oh, I see. Yeah, for those listening
Thank
at
you.
home. Absolutely. What do you think? Where we're at with that, as far as the representation in the music industry and just in entertainment in general?
How much time do you have?
We have exactly 14 minutes.
Wow.
So.
Okay.
Nice.
Well, do you want to go ahead?
I mean, I think that, honestly, whatever a woman wants to do, and if the American public is consuming that, for example, if the American public was down with buttholes on TV, I think there should be able to be buttholes on TV, but they're not, I guess, yet. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like you shouldn't attack a woman who doesn't want to do that or a woman who does want to do that. I mean, I think it's really that simple. I don't think we need 14 minutes to really even talk about that. If that's what Beyonce wants to do, I do think that she is feminist in the terms she's saying, yeah, I'm going to do this, and she's kind of, talking about the way like black women have been portrayed in the media, and I've heard that argument. If that's good, do that. If another woman wants to express it differently, good, do that. I'm not going to judge anyone on TV except in the fun way when I watch like Teen Mom 2, and I'm like, can you believe that he got another girl pregnant and that kind of thing. But you know, Janelle had another baby. Come on, why? But
Love
yeah,
that shit.
I think that expressing yourself in whatever way you want, like I said, no judges. I think no judges is a very, very important part of my philosophy. So.
No judges.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, Chloe, do some judging.
No. I think that framework that every individual gets to do what they want to do ignores how culture works, ignores the way that the culture that we live in shapes what we want, what we consume, and what we then produce in popular culture. And I think it is I think it's somewhat simplistic to say this happens in a vacuum. This woman wants what she wants in a vacuum. That guy enjoys watching that in a vacuum. I mean, everything we know about how culture works contradicts that. These things don't happen in a vacuum, and I think it's worth examining the larger ecosystem that we're all functioning in.
Of course not. If people didn't dig it, then Beyonce wouldn't be famous. But it just so happens that certain things individuals like will be, the things that the culture is into. But I don't know what you mean by like collectively producing. Do you mean like in Canada how there's a law that a certain number of radio stations have to play a certain amount of Canadian music? Because I think that's bullshit.
Oh, I think everyone in the world thinks that's bullshit.
Yeah.
What
Really?
is Canadian
I
music?
want all bare naked ladies all the time.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, they're rhyming underwear.
All
with
Ryan
things.
Adams all the time. But I'm an Australian, so I'm sort of, it's like Commonwealth solidarity going on there.
That's the most controversial thing you said.
I mean, you can't let it. Obviously, it determines the culture. Collectively determines what is and is not popular. But I just don't understand in terms of. And we can all comment on it. I don't mean no judges in terms of I can't, comment on whether I think it's horrible or not. But I mean, do I, judge someone as a person? No. And should that, not be allowed or allowed? No. I mean, I guess I don't. I mean, culture is kind of an organic thing, right?
But what do you think about Beyonce being like sort of the face for strong, powerful women? She still flaunts her physical beauty so much. Is that a problem?
Are those two things? I don't think those two things are mutually
I
exclusive.
don't either. Yeah.
I don't think those two things are mutually exclusive. I mean, I think Beyonce and the rest of us, by the way, let's not separate ourselves from Beyonce. Let's be as close to her as we possibly can.
Oh, I'm way different.
I think
wish.
Beyonce, like the rest of us, functions in a world where women's bodies are still currency, and where women's bodies, when shaped in a particular way, are a very strong currency. And so, the reason that she's worth the amount of money that she's worth is because she's incredibly talented, but also because she's trading on a very particular kind of currency, which we are right now. By the way, you aren't, because you aren't wearing lip liner.
Exactly. Well, I mean, my body is.
I'm only here for Ben's body, to be fair.
Yeah, I tried to describe my body. I think it was like an OK Cupid or something, but they didn't have like a melting candle as an option, so I just went with fat. Kind of sad. Kind of a sad day for me, really. But yeah, so it's all tied to physical beauty, though.
No.
It's not.
I mean, CeeLo's not an attractive man.
CeeLo? Have you seen him? Holy, that guy's a dreamboat.
Wait, do you want to?
Oh, I meant tugboat. I meant tugboat.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I mean, I think we could talk for hours about pop music and women's bodies, and particularly about Beyonce. I mean, PhD dissertations are being written as we speak, lots of them, lots of really obtusely worded PhD dissertations about Beyonce and pop music. So I think there's a lot to say, but I would really question the idea that that being strong and powerful, whatever those, strong female character, whatever that means these days, and being physically attractive, that they are mutually exclusive. But I also think it's really important to recognize that a lot of the women who have that power going for them get there by, in some ways, trading on the fact that they are physically attractive.
A lot don't, Like Rosie O'Donnell, not hot, and she's crushing it, right? She's crushing it. You can totally. I mean, I think that's one way. There's another way. There's all these different ways. Everybody has different strengths and weaknesses. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't drive, and that's not necessarily.
Is that what's standing between you and pop stardom?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Can you sing, Katherine?
I am tone deaf.
Okay. It might be that, or the fact you can't drive.
But it's clearly all the rape culture. That's what I'm going to go with. It's the rape culture.
I am wondering, and this will be one of the final questions. What is rape culture? Can someone define it for me, please, both?
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I've heard so many different terms for it, and frankly, it's just it's a little confusing.
Yeah, I would say rape culture is the permissiveness, sense of humor around, and general lack of giving a shit about sexual violence. That makes it really, really easy for actual acts of sexual violence to be committed and then to be denied, covered up, hidden, and have the victim blamed for it.
Has there been an example?
I'm in a comedy club, so I'm not going to talk about rape jokes.
I'm pro rape jokes. I just want to get that out there. If they're funny, that's fine, because a lot of times rape jokes aren't like, ha, rape is hilarious. They're about something larger than that, and they just mention rape. And I don't think that. I don't think that should be an issue.
So you think a rape joke emboldens the victim to then make jokes about the situation and then
No, I don't even think
it's.
I don't think it's even like that. I think I don't think it's even like that at all. There's a lot of instances where a rape joke's about something else, but when people say, oh well, they mentioned rape, so that's not funny. I mean, everything can be funny, right? I mean, a dude on stage like, yeah, my dick and rape that's like not funny, right?
Right.
And that dude sucks. And but I mean, a lot of times they're about something larger. And I had a friend who had a joke that was, like Sam Morrill, like that whole thing that happened to him, where he had a joke where he said, it was like, I'm gonna ruin his joke, and so he'd probably be mad because I'm not gonna be as funny at telling it. But he said, like, like during like sex or whatever, it's like this girl said the N-word, and then he was like, everyone's like, oh my God, this white guy's gonna say the N-word. And then he says no, and people are like laugh, like they're like relieved, like, oh my God, he could think it was just a rape joke instead of him saying the N-word.
Well, what does that
and I
say
feel
about
like that's
society?
more about like how
Right.
people do take it lightly, right? But a lot of people were pissed, like, how dare you say it's funny when a woman gets raped? And it's like, that's not what he was saying.
Actually, it is what he was saying. I mean, I think the distinction
How?
that you're making,
How?
the distinction that you're making is between rape jokes that make fun of those who are raped, and rape jokes that make fun of rape culture or of rapists. And I think I'm totally down
That
with
was
those,
the joke
right?
making fun of rape culture.
I think that joke was, and Chloe, I want to hear your opinion on it, but
Yeah.
I think that joke actually points out how sensitive we are about race. To the point where,
to a
that
point
they
where-
literally, the word no in this situation, implying rape, broke tension, which is obviously where laughter
Which
comes
shouldn't
from.
God,
be,
it was
which is
only
messed
rape.
up, which is
Right.
exactly, and that
But
was
it-
like his point of the whole joke. But women got mad about it because they just like rape, and not like all women, but it was like a huge feminist
No,
outrage. He was
hashtag not all
brutally
women.
attacked.
And to be fair, there were
Yeah, I
plenty
don't
of...
think anything is true for all
To be
women,
fair, there
yes.
were plenty of men who thought that joke was unacceptable as well. There are plenty of stand-up comedians.
I don't
men
understand
stand-up
what was
comedians who thought that joke
unacceptable
was
about
unacceptable.
because it mentioned rape.
No, because it made light of rape.
It didn't.
Okay.
How?
Can we get back to the issue of rape culture? Because I think,
Yeah.
like I said, I
don't think we left it.
Yeah, we're still
No,
talking about it.
we're in it. I bought a house. I got a whole new zip code now.
Right.
I live in rape culture.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Don't we all? You thought that was funny.
She's a very smart woman.
I mean, I think the fact that so many of us find it permissible to joke about, honestly, the worst thing that can happen to a person, and to sit around debating in the presence of survivors of that act. By the way, statistically speaking, there are survivors of that act in this room. The fact that we can sit around debating like it doesn't matter, like the question is this funny or not, and not how can we be preventing this horrible thing? That is what it means to live in rape culture, that we can sit around debating whether or not rape is funny and
No,
not
I'm
whether
not
or not...
saying rape's funny, just so everyone knows. Not saying
Okay,
rape's funny.
but joking about rape is funny.
No,
think
it's
that-
the
again, I
joke is
think-
not about rape. Like, so we can't even mention rape in like a larger
Oh,
construct
of course we
anything.
can. There are plenty of
Well,
rape
that's all
jokes
he
that I
was
find
doing.
hilarious, right? Louis C.K.'s joke about how you should never rape a person unless you really, really want to have sex with them. Wanda Sykes' joke about
I
having
feel like that is way more.
Wanda
like,
Sykes'
like
joke,
making fun
Wanda
of the
Sykes'
actual
joke
act of rape because
about-
it's not about anything
The Wanda
else.
Sykes joke about having
I'm
a
lost.
detachable vagina so that you can go out jogging at night. The John Mulaney joke about like how weird it feels to have someone
So
look at
wait,
you
why
as a
is the
potential
Louis
rape.
C.K. joke okay and the other one's not?
Because
like, I'm
it's
confused.
totally clear that he's being entirely sarcastic.
So is, right, I just, yeah.
I just think that's a fame thing. But
I agree. I was like, maybe just because Louis C.K. Yeah.
But yeah, last question. Obviously now we have a group of children who are never allowed to be criticized or shamed. Is some shame good?
Yes.
Is shame as a child,
Yes.
is that ever good?
Wait, I have children?
Do you?
Wait, we have children?
Yes,
Wait,
yeah, we have children together.
Wait, who has
You
children?
have you not been around the past 10 years? Yeah, we have a whole life. And you have been a great mother,
Are we
and you're
happily
staying
married?
home with me.
Wait, so
you don't
who-
remember this? Yeah, I go to work every day.
I'm sorry, I
You
was too
stay
busy
home.
leaning in.
That's ridiculous.
What children are we talking about?
Kids in general nowadays. You're
that
not. There's just a march, the anti-bullying march. Because kids. As a
Wait, bullying
child,
is good now?
Sometimes.
Say more.
How is bullying good, Ken?
I
Yeah,
think
tell us
I think
about
shaming can sometimes be good. For example, when I was in high school, people made fun of me a lot, and it's allowed me to succeed today because I realized what's wrong with me, right? Like, I had this like weird. I'm serious. I had this weird like side bang mullet, and like I like wore Hot Topic clothes, and I used to sit in the back of the classroom just like scrawling Dashboard Confessional and My Chemical Romance lyrics on my notebook. not cool.
We would have been
right?
best friends, though.
People told me that it wasn't cool, and I don't mean bullying in terms of making someone's life a living hell, but now I know it's not cool because that behavior would have never allowed me to succeed in the workplace.
Okay,
you
so
know?
can we talk about actual bullying or just like pretend bang mullet bullying?
Well, it wasn't pretend, it was very real.
Yeah.
But I mean, what do you mean pretend? I mean, there's like harassment and abuse, and then there's like bullying. But I mean, I think that there's a huge difference. Shaming can sometimes be helpful, I think. I don't mean it in a mean way, but you know, kids making fun of each other is normal.
Do you feel like the fact that you got shamed helps you go into your office, your boss's office, and be like, give me money? Give me more money."
100%, because I overcame people being like, your side mullet sucks, and you know, I don't know, you guys, it was really bad.
Yeah,
Like,
that's some serious.
I would have had
oppression right
no career with this side, and I used to like flip it out with a hair iron on purpose, and I don't know why.
Chloe, what's your definition of real bullying, if that's not...
I would say consistent harassment or abuse on the basis of some form of difference. I wouldn't count side bang mullet in the kind of difference, but
It's very different.
maybe dashboard confessional lyrics, because that's a bridge too far.
Yeah,
No, I would
talented
I would
songwriter.
I mean what the statistics show us is that bullying disproportionately affects queer youth, and that it makes them unlikely to show up to school, unlikely to graduate, unlikely to be able to get a good job. I mean, it has knock-on effects all the way up into adulthood. I'm really glad that your bullying was productive and that it allowed you to go get a raise at work, but that is not representative of how bullying works.
I
for
mean,
most people.
I'm not pro like bullying gay kids out of school. I don't
Okay,
think
so,
anybody.
As a,
so I just want to clear, she's not pro-rape and she's not pro bullying kids out of school. That is great.
I will, as a,
I mean,
as a,
I don't
the
think
youngest
that
of...
that should be that. I don't really think anybody really is. I don't think there's, you know, in terms of shaming, in terms of bullying, we see a lot of schools kind of overreacting to the slight things sometimes, and I feel like a lot of these kids are going to grow up to be pussies, and we will see who is right in 20 years.
As the youngest of three brothers, both of my older brothers being gay, I'm just going to say this. Gays are mean bullies. And they destroyed me. So, 6'7" redheads, if you're out there listening, I understand what you've gone through, and I understand what you're going through.
And it gets better.
What's that?
It gets better.
Well, it actually doesn't. It gets worse because you moved to New York and everything's shorter. But that's okay. Awesome. Thank you so much, Katherine, and thank you so much, Chloe. This was like really fun and informative, and I learned so much. Thank you guys so much for coming.
Well, thanks so much for listening. Let's keep the conversation going. You can follow Katherine Timpf on Twitter. She's at KC Timpf. That's TIMPF. And Chloe Angyal on Twitter. That's CHLOE ANGYAL. And of course, I'm at Ben Kissel on Twitter. All right, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.